Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here today. You are at the Gies Online Masters in Management iMSM webinar today. Thanks for being here. As you join, you can check out the QR code on our screen. That's a great way to get in touch with one of our admission counselors. Go ahead and scan that QR code, and that will connect you with our team, and they will reach out to you and see, if you're interested in having a conversation about your goals and our programs, and see how we can work together. Just a great option to connect with us. As we're kind of waiting for everyone to join, I do want to launch a quick poll. So check out this poll. This is a poll everywhere poll, great example of how we use technology in a lot of our live sessions. This is, you can actually use the QR code in the top right-hand corner, or you can go ahead and use the URL. Let me go ahead and put that in the chat, and go ahead and let us know where you're joining from. We really enjoy seeing where our guests are coming from. Oftentimes it does reflect what a real live session or a course is like at Gies. We do have a global program, so our students come from all over the world, which is one of my favorite things about the program, just really being able to meet people from all over the world. So, okay, we see I have got a couple people that have pinned their location. Looks like we've got some Midwesterners joining us, and maybe some East Coasters, domestic students. Dallas, thanks, Lewis, for letting us know. If you can't figure out the poll, go ahead and put it in the chat. While we are waiting, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Kate Deering. I'm an associate director within Gies Online Programs. I do work in the recruitment space. I love working with prospective learners to share information about our programs, get to know you a little bit, and help you see how, one of our master's degrees or graduate certificates can really help you advance your career and expand your learning. So we're really excited to have you here today. Looks like we have the majority of our students that are here guests that are here are from domestic. Let's see, it looks like we've got somebody from Canada. So this is really great. We're excited to have a great group here today. While we are waiting, I am going to have our special guest introduce herself. Melissa Strader is here, and very excited. We often have ambassadors that join us in our webinars to really give you the honest kind of viewpoint from a current student. So Melissa, do you mind giving a little bit of background from what industry you're in, which program? Obviously you're in the MSM program, and just tell us a little bit about yourself while I get my slide deck worked out here.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you, Kate. And hi, everyone. It's great to meet you all today. My name's Melissa. I have been working in industry for about 20 years now, kind of split between healthcare and the tech industry. So I first got interested in Gies and the iMSM program because I was looking for a way to brush up on my business knowledge and make sure that I had access to relevant case studies that were tied to things that I was seeing out in my workplace, out in industry. And yet I have a very demanding job day to day. I lead a large team and was looking for something that would be informative and help build my knowledge, but also be flexible. So the iMSM program turned out to be a perfect fit for me. I'm one of those folks that probably could have applied for the MBA, but I wanted to get my feet wet first and see how much of the MBA program I was going to want to commit to and how much I was interested in getting involved with. So I also like the stackability of the programs, and I know that I have the option to roll in or to apply to roll into the MBA program after I finish my MS in management. And so I'm really excited about that possibility too. So day to day, I lead a research and design division for a healthcare company, and on the evenings and weekends, I'm doing my coursework here.
Awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you here today. Here's our agenda today. So we obviously did our welcome and introductions. Let me just make sure I have this right. We are going to just give you a little bit of an overview of the University of Illinois in general. We'll break that down to talk a little bit about the Gies College of Business and what we're all about there. And then we'll switch gears and kind of go into Gies Business Online and our online graduate credentials that we offer. We'll give you a program overview of the iMSM program. We'll talk about curriculum, content, a few application tips and tricks, and then we're going to hopefully have a few minutes at the end for Q&A. If you have questions, go ahead and add those to the chat, or more importantly, maybe put them in the Q&A feature. This is an easy place to keep track of questions. My colleague Grant is in the background. He will be answering all of your questions there and sharing some important links. In fact, Grant, if you don't mind right now, just throw in the MSM website so that if that way, as we move through the information today, you can kind of peruse the website and let us know if you have any questions there. Here's another poll. So, as we begin to kind of dive deeper into the MSM program, what has been holding you back from pursuing graduate education? I always find this very interesting. We have cost, we have this online format, we have the time commitment that it might take, return on investment. Maybe you're worried that this program is going to be extremely difficult. We'll answer a lot of these questions today, but let me know what you're thinking as far as maybe just some hesitations that you have. If you put other as well, please throw in the chat. Let me know what your other response would be. So it looks like online format, which we're going to talk about how we make that work and the innovative way that we deliver information today. Time commitment, I think that'll be an easy one that Melissa can probably address for us here in a bit. We are going to also talk about return on investment. So I really appreciate these responses to help me kind of hone in on the specific information that I really want you to learn a little bit about. So Gies Business Online, if you're joining us for the first time and you're unfamiliar with Gies Online, I do want to introduce you just to the foundational pillars that we have built Gies Business on, and that's flexibility, stackability, and online by design. You're going to hear a lot about flexibility once you start talking to students and just in talking with us or your admission counselors. And we have really created an online environment where we can provide accessible education to working professionals so that you don't have to stop your job. You don't have to, avoid family commitments or your extracurricular activities. It is extremely flexible. And the way that we do that is through how we, schedule our courses. We do accommodate the schedules of working professionals, allowing for your live sessions to be during the week, typically Wednesday to Friday. You'll have some group projects that typically you can work on in the weekends, and then assignments are due early in the next week. So it works really well for working professionals. You will have flexibility as far as your degree planning. So you are in charge of your degree. There's only, most of the courses you can take in any order. There are a few that you do have to take in a specific order, but we have a full advising team that will help you kind of curate your degree plan. You can take 1 or 2 courses each 8-week term, and you can change that as you move throughout your program. So we're very flexible in that sense. Even if maybe you have a large work project or something that comes up, you can take that term off. You would just work with your advisors and then start back up when you're ready. So a lot of flexibility there. And then lastly, we do have a pretty flexible tuition structure. So you have a pay-as-you-go tuition plan, and so you only pay for each course that you're registered for, which is really nice. There's not going to be a lump sum payment, at any point. You'll just pay as you go for each course that you take. Secondly, stackability. At Gies, we're very dedicated to ensuring that learning is accessible to all, which is really why we've provided building block credential options that are tailored to every stage of your educational journey. So regardless of where you're at, we do have a starting point or an access point for you that ultimately can be stackable into whatever your end goal is, whether that's a graduate certificate or maybe it's a full master's degree. So you can always stack and continue stacking until you reach your ultimate goal, which is very nice. And then the next slide, actually, I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper to the stackable options, just so you know what those are. And then finally, online by design. So we've deliberately designed our credentials to cater to thousands of learners worldwide, allowing you to participate from the comfort of your own home. Maybe, maybe you're on vacation, you can still access your classwork from there, as well as your live sessions, or really anywhere else. And the way that we've done that is without sacrificing that interaction and that collaboration that you're going to have with your peers, which is really nice. And that was intentional. With those three things being said, Melissa, I'm going to jump back to you. I guess when you were exploring business programs, which of these resonated with you and why did you choose Gies?
Are you going to force me to pick just one? I'd say the online by design and the flexibility is what drew me in. And as I got into understanding what the stackability meant for me in my career progression, that became a bonus. So I know that I do not have the ability to commute to a university campus a few times a week and sit in a classroom. It's just impossible with my schedule. And the fact that this leverages Coursera, which I know is usable. I know you can download course content. So if I'm on a plane, on a business trip, I could still watch my class videos. All of that was really attractive and makes it so easy to pace my work in a way that fits around the rest of my schedule.
Excellent. Yes, we're going to touch on the way that we do deliver information and combining the Coursera component with the high engagement component in just a minute. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So this slide represents the access points that you can really start your journey with us. Really just depending on, what you can handle at that time and also what your end goals are. They all stack into the next step. So if you look at that first small box, that is representing a free online course on the Coursera platform. And so you could start with the foundational kind of material that is in our classes and stack 2 of those MOOCs into a 4-credit course, which is that second block. So every one of our 4-hour 4-credit courses has 2 MOOCs within it. So you can stack that learning into one course, which is, by the way, a great option to try if you're kind of curious how we do things here and you want to start just with one course that could count towards a degree or a graduate certificate at a later time. That's a great place to start. The third box is a graduate certificate. We'll touch on those just a little bit, but those are made up of 12 credit hours that you can take together to earn a graduate certificate that also is later stackable into either the MSM or the MBA or the iMSA. And then lastly, that last box is our master's degrees, which your MSM, another unique stackability that Melissa kind of touched on, is that you can actually stack all 36 credit hours of that into your MBA at a later time, which is just a nice option, especially if you dive into the MSM and you're not totally sure that you need that next step or a full MBA. I think that's a great option to have at a later time. So grad certs, I did want to just touch on briefly, just in case you're not quite ready for the full MSM, you can start with a graduate certificate. These are made up of 12 hours of transcripted credit in 13 different areas. So those are all listed on your screen. These are just great options to start learning with us. Brief application process. And again, these are all stackable into a full master's degree. So what is the management degree? And who is it really for? This iMSM is going to give you essential leadership and management skills in your career. I always say, I think regardless of what your career is, who doesn't need to learn how to be a great leader and be an excellent manager? You'll develop confidence by expanding your communication and your leadership skills. You're going to be able to apply your thinking into problem solving and across such areas such as finance, marketing, operations, and also accounting. And there's a lot of different types of learners that you'll meet in this program as well. So we have non-business backgrounds looking to develop a leadership or management base. We've got business backgrounds that are pivoting to all of a sudden maybe manage a team. And then we also have a lot of highly technical backgrounds that are looking to really broaden their formal business knowledge. Melissa, can you talk a little bit about just the types of backgrounds, I guess, that you have experienced in like your group projects and in your live sessions?
Yeah, very wide range. And I think I've certainly encountered a fair number of folks who are reaching a point in their career where they've had that deep technical role, or they've had a more domain focused role, and now they're taking on more responsibility and trying to figure out how to manage the people aspect of the role in addition to the work content that they're accustomed to managing. And so it's really satisfying to see those folks working through what it means to become a leader, become a manager in their organization, and help develop other people. Um, See a lot of folks who've been I've seen some people who are kind of new to industry, and so they're entering into a role in their industry where they have to be a project manager, or where their role primarily involves people management, even if they're not um, managing direct reports. The influence and the team dynamics are super important to their success, and so they're coming to gain skills around that. And then I've also seen other folks like myself who are just kind of general managers or team leaders looking to strengthen the foundations that they've gotten in industry.
Perfect. That's just a good description of the different backgrounds. So I appreciate you sharing that. Um, Here's just some basics on the Master of Science in Management, just our quick facts. This degree will run 12.4K. That's the total tuition. So that's going to include all your costs and fees. You can finish this program anywhere from 12 to 60 months. So typically 1 to 2 years is kind of the timeline. But you do have a maximum of 5 years based on our graduate college to finish. So really, you can go at your own pace, which I think is really nice. Melissa, are you on the 1 year, 2 year? What's your timeline look like?
You know, it's changing. So
Mhm.
I started out on, I think, estimating 18 months, and I had something come up at work, and I decided that this summer I wasn't going to take any classes. And so now I've rearranged my schedule, and I'm on the 2-year plan, and I'm still very happy with that. So I appreciate that I've been able to kind of juggle and pick a time frame that works for me.
That's awesome. How much time? I guess we always say like typically students will take 1 or 2 courses each 8-week term. If you take one, then you're going to be on that 2-year timeline. If you take two, you're going to be on that 1-year timeline. Taking one course, at a time, what does that look like as far as the hours you put in each week?
Yeah. So because it's a 16-week period technically, and you're taking an 8-week course, the way I like to plan it is I can study ahead in the Coursera portion of the class and focus. I like to really focus my 8 weeks of time on the live learning, the group projects, and really go deep there. So I tend to try to separate those a little bit. So on a given week, when I'm active in one set of classes, I may be meeting with team members to plan for a team project. We'll be working on Microsoft Teams by chat and sharing documents digitally to work on things together asynchronously throughout the week. And then I'll either be attending the live class, the live lecture, or in some cases, if I can't make it, I'll look at it afterward. They're always recorded, so I can go back and watch the entire live lecture and take my notes that way. Um, and then really it's just about, I think they do a really good job outlining each week what's due. Assignments are always due on Tuesdays, so I know that I can plan ahead and keep my Tuesdays clear for any cleanup work that I need to do, and the cadence flows pretty nicely from there. So yeah, in a given week, I'd say probably about 8 to 10 hours of work, but kind of spread across all those different activities.
Perfect. And I think the beautiful thing is everybody kinds their own finds their own way of how they like to do things, right? Some people do it like you do and do the Coursera well in advance. Some people do it the week before. Some people do it concurrently with the live session. So it's really up to you how you work through that coursework. Here's just some numbers just to give you an idea of the class profile. The average age in the MSM program is 34 with 9 years of work experience. So the MSM does not have a work experience requirement in order to apply, unlike the MBA, which has that 3-year minimum. But you will, obviously you can see here that it is still a pretty mature population as far as their work experience. We have 48 US states and territories represented in 86 countries. So I know you've heard us say it is a global program. It is. You're going to have people in your classes from all over the world, which is really nice. The MSM, has over 1,000 alumni, so you'll have that group to use as a resource as well, which is really nice. So something I, really enjoy sharing is looking at the return on investment. And I'm sure that's really important to a lot of you that are joining us here today. So when, you know, we asked our graduating students what we asked them these questions. We asked them how satisfied they were in the MSM, and that was they had a 94% satisfaction rate. More importantly, that 42% number is very important because 42% of our students earned a promotion, job offer, or took a new position during their time in the MSM program. These students also earned on average a 28% pay increase. So those are just some really great statistics to kind of know that, when you're looking at programs, this is potentially what you would experience. Melissa, have you seen, I guess, what kind of impact have you seen so far just while you're in the program?
If we're looking at these, I think both have happened since I've joined the program. I have accepted a new position, and in that position, I received a merit increase. So,
Excellent.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
We like promotions. So but yeah, really, I mean, it's nice to have the data to show that you will more than likely experience some of this return on investment in the program, which is nice. So let's talk a little bit about the curriculum and content. To earn your MSM, you will complete 36 credit hours. So that's going to be 24 core hours in that first box. So you're going to take 6 courses. Those are your required courses. And then you're going to have 3 courses or 12 credit hours of elective choices, which is really nice. So you do still have a chance to dive into some courses that interest you and that maybe pertain to your particular background or career. Global challenges in business, data-driven decision making and communications, business value, and project management are just a couple tracks that we have that you can focus in on, or you can take any 3 electives that we offer to MSM students. Just one note about the I. This is a common question that we do have come up sometimes. The I is going to refer just to that method of delivery. So, way back when we launched the IMBA program, we also had a residential program. So that's kind of where it started. We needed to indicate that it was a different delivery method for that IMBA. And as we launched the rest of our master's degrees, that stuck. So just know the I is not going to be on your transcripts. It won't be on your diploma. It's not going to say online anywhere. You are earning a diploma from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, just like you would if you were in a residential program. So here's some important information on this slide. So this is how we deliver information. I think hopefully you're all curious about that and how do we do this in the virtual environment? And that is made up of an asynchronous component as well as a high engagement component. So the asynchronous component is found on that Coursera platform. So I'm not sure if you're familiar or not, but Coursera is a very large educational platform that houses our foundational material, or kind of like your virtual textbook in our courses. This is non-credit bearing coursework. It is delivered through pre-recorded videos from our professors. There's going to be some self-assessed quizzes, some reading assignments, and some peer evaluations. We at Gies bring in this high engagement component that builds upon that MOOC material, and that's housed on our Canvas platform. It is, as I said, it's going to build on that foundational material through live weekly lectures. So you're going to have a 90-minute live weekly lecture in front of your professor each week. They will call on you sometimes. There's a lot of them call on you. You're going to have small breakout sessions. You're going to have discussions and just some really great back and forth. The chats are always kind of crazy in these classes. Very interactive setting. And then you're going to have group projects where you'll work with 4 to 5 other students on that project in each course. You're going to have, you know, individual assignments, exams, tests, and then there's faculty office hours as well, which I know is a really valuable tool in our program where you can drop in and have your questions answered, talk with other students in the program. And so these two components work really well together. Melissa, in your words, I guess, can you tell the group a little bit about how you've experienced those working together, and maybe tell us a little bit about a group project and what that's like?
Yeah, sure. So let's see. We we had a group project to analyze my favorite elective. I'll just plug also my favorite elective here. We have a professor who is an expert in multiculturalism in business, and she teaches this great class, Multiculturalism in Management in the Marketplace. It's my favorite class so far. And one of the projects that we got to do was to take a business and a business case study and figure out how to adapt it in a multicultural context. And I thought that was a really neat way to apply the course material and to stretch us. It generated some really interesting group discussions. We had, as you mentioned, Kate, we have people from all over the world. And so talking about multiculturalism with a group where people are spread all over the place was fascinating. And so we had multiple meetings to pull together our project. We would reference the live weekly lectures to help tie, the course material to the project that we were working on. And then we would send somebody from our group to the office hours to ask questions and get feedback, and then come back to us. So there was a little bit of delegation happening there to save us time. And then we also, I think for that one, they had us in the end record a 10-minute video where we all got on a Zoom call together and presented our final solution for the case study. And then that gets submitted through the Canvas platform. So that's an example of kind of the end-to-end project that's been my favorite so far.
Awesome. So as you can see, there is a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of interaction. This is not just a virtual, course where you're just watching a live recorded or a pre-recorded session. There's so much interaction. You're going to be getting to know your faculty members and your fellow students in your sessions as well. Our faculty is really, I like to say, the heart of our programs. We have over 74 faculty members who teach in online programs. They have many, many years of experience as working professionals and also tenured professors. There's 250 TAs that help within these courses. We have, as far as Gies, we have 55 staff members in teaching and learning that support these courses. So know that there is a lot of heads that come together to make this experience amazing for you, and teach, to this large group of learners worldwide. We actually complete 40 live sessions each week, and we have created over 19,000 videos to date through the MOOC videos, as well as some of your coursework. So they make these in 6 of our state-of-the-art studios here on campus. I actually got to do a live session out of one the other day. It was really cool. And then we have 7 more that are coming in the brand new Stephen Weimer Hall, brand new business instructional building that we're currently creating right now. So that should be completed, I think, spring 2025. So we're really excited about that. All right, so let's change gears a little bit and talk a little bit about networking. I think this is a common question that comes up. I think it's an important question because who wants to just watch, join the live sessions and just kind of take your tests and your exams? And we want to network, right? We want to impact our careers. We want to meet people that can help us, do that. And the way that we support that is we have Gies-led opportunities, and we also have a lot of student-led opportunities. And in a minute, I'm going to hopefully ask Melissa what her favorite way to network in the program is, but we do provide a lot of opportunities. So we have iConnects, which are really just kind of meet and mingle events that we host domestically, sometimes internationally, when our leadership team or maybe someone from our administrative team travels. Occasionally we'll bring in a speaker or do some, one of our, or someone from our leadership team might talk at one of those as well. We have immersions. Immersions are really an amazing opportunity that you can travel domestically or internationally and complete a business project. Essentially, you're going to travel with a large group of students. I actually just went to South Africa on an immersion. It was amazing. We took 39 students over there and went to Johannesburg as well as Cape Town. You're working on that business project, but you're also, kind of meeting with a lot of stakeholders in those areas. So we met with some nonprofits, learned a little bit about that. We did a lot of cultural activities. We went to the Nelson Mandela, his original residence, which was really neat. And so you do a lot on these trips, and more importantly, you really get to know the students around you. I was just amazed at how close the students got over that. I think we were gone for about 10 days or so. During that opportunity. It was really fun to watch. And then we have iConverge. iConverge is our annual event that we host here on campus, coming up typically it's in the fall. It's the first weekend of September this year, where we bring in all of our online students and alumni. They're all invited, and we have 3 days of fun, professional development. We bring in some amazing speakers this year. Our theme is leadership. A couple years ago it was entrepreneurship. Last year, I believe it was networking. So there's typically a theme, and then we build an amazing event out of that. Melissa, have you come to iConverge before?
No, I'm dying to go, but the timing doesn't work out very well. Maybe next year.
Yeah, I hope you're able to, because it's really fun. And we even go to a football game and host a tailgate. So yeah, it's a really nice opportunity. I guess, on the flip side of that, we do offer, well, we don't offer, but our students really create a lot of student-led opportunities as well to network. In your group projects, you're obviously going to get to know your students, your group mates pretty well. There's also something called Workplace, which is a social media group just for our students that really a lot happens there. I think it connects a lot of our students. There's a lot of different groups on there. So we have industry groups. We have, typically there's a study guide group for each course. There's a group for just each course. There's a lot of fun posts on there. There's just a lot happening there, but it's a great place to connect with your fellow students. Something that happens quite often too in our programs are student-led meetups. This is where our students create their own meetups just close to home. Typically those begin on Workplace, where they put out there that they live in a certain area and they want to get together with their fellow students. We have the ambassador program, which Melissa is part of, and then we also have the IGBA, which is our Illinois Graduate Business Association, kind of like our student council, if you will, but just a great conduit to connect students with our leadership and our administrative team. Melissa, what's your favorite way to network in the program?
I think, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I will say that I just enjoy the connection in general. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to connect with people because of, maybe not being able to be synchronous often enough. But what I'm finding is that based on the time that I joined, I'm seeing the same people show up in group projects. So there's some continuity there, as well as the live classes. So you start to put faces to names, which is really nice, even in this kind of environment. And in workplace, if you introduce yourself and say where you're from and what you do, you will get DMs from people saying, hey, let's meet up, let's get coffee, let's network. So I've really enjoyed meeting people in my local area or meeting people who are in my industry. And then we connect on LinkedIn and keep in touch. But overall, it's been a lot easier to connect with people than I originally expected.
Do you think something has to do with, or that has a little bit to do with just students that are in this program and the MBA program, they're here for the right reasons? I feel like it's a pretty large commitment to take on something like this. People are here to learn, they are here to make those connections. And that's one thing I've noticed just about our population is they are genuinely interested in building and forming that rapport with each other.
Totally agree. And it almost feels like a community of support where everybody's trying to grow, we're trying to learn, we're trying to be good leaders out in the world. And I've really appreciated some of the resources that people have sent me, and vice versa. I'll send others resources if I know they've been working on something and I have experience there. So it's almost like a little support group for leadership that's ongoing, which is really cool.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so well, hopefully we've shared a little bit about networking, and you're encouraged that you will have those opportunities to get together and meet new people in the program. I want you to know that you are not alone in the program. We do have a full student and academic success team, or advising team. They are here to help you with your degree planning. They have advising appointments. They have express advising. You can sign up for a one-on-one appointment. You can just email them. So they are there as a resource to you and happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, it's application time. I'm going to do a quick time check. We have about 20 minutes. Which part of the application is making you nervous? Have you looked at the application requirements? We're going to go through those here in just a second, but is there a part that's really giving you pause or making you nervous about kind of diving in and starting that application? Hopefully we can alleviate some of those concerns and talk about those here in the next slide. But I'm curious, which one of these: resume, personal statement, we're going to talk about letters of recommendation, transcripts, work experience, are any of these making you nervous? They shouldn't. We have a pretty easy application, I will say. Anybody want to respond? You can also throw it in the chat. It just might not be our poll day today, guys. It's just from the get-go. I think I jinxed it. Well, let's just go over the basics, and maybe you'll have some questions as we work through this slide. But this is the application requirements for the iMSM program. We do require a resume, very straightforward, simple resume. This does not need to be a resume that you have every publication and every volunteer job. And, let's just stick to your academic history as well as your work experience. That's all we need. We do require a bachelor's degree for the MSM. And so in order to apply, you just need your unofficial transcripts from your bachelor's degree, or any degree really that you've earned and that you've listed on your application. If you're an international student, please make sure that you include not only the mark sheets or transcripts, but also that certificate of diploma or degree. Typically, that's not included in international transcripts, so we will need that. And then also, if it wasn't delivered in English, we'll need an official English translation. And for any of these, I just want to note, please reach out to us. Grant is one of our admission counselors who's in the background here today. We have a full team. They're happy to walk you through this process and answer any specific questions that you have. There are a couple academic statements. So we have one statement that is the academic statement, and then there's a couple required short answer personal statements, and there's 2 optional. We do give you a chance to note anything out of the ordinary or anything that you want to express to us that's kind of outside of the application details that we've already collected. So that'll be an opportunity to talk about that there. 2 recommendation forms is what we require. I want you to know that this is not a stressful thing. I know it can be hard to ask somebody for for letters of recommendation. These are very straightforward and simple forms for them to fill out. We actually don't even have to have a letter of recommendation, so they can write that instead if they would like. But this form, honestly, is very simple. Should take them about 10 to 15 minutes to fill out. There's going to be 8 to 10 questions that they're rating you, strongly agree to strongly disagree, and then just a couple paragraph form short answer questions. So not a huge lift for them. We just need their name and email in order for you to submit the application. We actually will give them a few extra days after you submit to turn that in after our deadline. English proficiency is required for international students. Reach out to us if you have questions there. No GRE, no GMAT are required. We do have one scholarship in partnership with Coursera. That deadline is coming up for spring. So we only have a scholarship opportunity twice a year. And the deadline in order to apply for that would be October, coming up in October, our first priority 1 deadline for a January start. That Coursera scholarship will reimburse 70% of your tuition if chosen. Pretty competitive scholarship. Both of these the application is within the program application, so you'll submit both of those at the same time by that October deadline. And then lastly, we have the performance-based admissions track. So this is a track reserved for students who maybe don't meet our 3.0 minimum bachelor's GPA requirement. Maybe you want to kind of have a trial period and try out the MSM. This would be for you. So you would apply the same way as a degree student, but if awarded or if admitted into the performance-based admissions track, you would take 3 courses. You would have to earn a B or better in at least 2 of the 3 courses and an overall GPA of 3.0. And then we'll evaluate your grades and automatically admit you. So you're admitted as a non-degree student. We evaluate those 3 courses, and then we would admit you into the degree track. So an amazing opportunity for some folks that possibly don't meet some of our minimum requirements. Happy to answer any questions there if you have them. Just give us about 2 to 3 weeks to review your materials. We'll reach out with a missing materials email, a decision, or we'll invite you to interview. So those are kind of the next steps. Okay, our next deadline coming up, if you're, hopefully you're a little bit excited today about what you've heard. We have a chance for you to start in October. So that's right around the corner. You would just need to apply by September 5th. Otherwise, you could apply by that October, I think it's October 3rd, the first Thursday in October, to have a January start. So that would be our priority 1 deadline for spring 2025. Hopefully you learned a lot about the iMSM program and Gies in general, but just know that we are very flexible here in how you access your coursework, the timeline you have to complete, and just really nice to have the opportunity to work towards something and work towards a degree while you just continue working in your full-time job. I find that that's just an amazing opportunity. I think that you can do that together. Hopefully we've shown you that we've been pretty innovative in how we deliver our information. Melissa kind of shared a little bit about how she balances the Coursera component with the high engagement components, and you'll find your own way on how to do that. But we also have a lot of networking opportunities, and as we mentioned, we have award-winning programs here as well as our top faculty that will be teaching you. So we would love to have you join us. And with that, I think I'm just going to stop sharing here and see if we have any questions. I know, Grant, you have been very busy. Is there anything that's popped up or any questions for Melissa that you have fielded? I'm going to check out the chat right here. Okay, can you comment a little bit on the interview? Melissa, do you remember your interview? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I do remember my interview because they managed to pair me with, I believe, an IMBA grad who worked in a very similar industry to the one that I was in. And so I appreciated a ton that I was able to connect with somebody and not only talk about my interest in the program and my goals, but I felt like I was able to also get some good answers to my questions at the end of that from somebody who's been through it from a similar context. So I don't know if I got really lucky. I'm guessing that whenever possible, they try to do that for the interview. But I came away from the interview feeling very jazzed. I was a little nervous going in, but I would say there are no curveballs. It was really a getting to know you, putting a face to an application, and then having a chance to ask live questions from somebody who has a lot of experience there. So it was very positive.
Yeah, I will say I do a lot of interviews as well. We have the IMBA or, experienced students that do some interviews, but it's not something to get super stressed about. We're just trying to get to know you a little bit. We want to learn about your goals and why you think this program is going to really help you reach those goals. So try to just take a deep breath. We're not trying to make you nervous through this process. It's just to get to know you a little bit. Grant, any other questions? I'm not sure if you're hearing me here.
Sorry, my mute button was stuck. I don't know why.
That's okay.
Um, Jason wanted us to know if there was a place to see a list of immersions or um, something like that.
Yeah, typically those are shared throughout the year. We have 4 throughout the year. We have 2 virtual ones. Usually, in the past couple years, they've been to Japan and Colombia, were our virtual immersions. This year, our international immersions were South Africa, and then Malaysia, Singapore. So they'll share those with current students well before, but we don't have the options for next year yet. But um, it'll probably fall a little bit along that same track as far as having, we definitely have both international and domestic immersions.
And then there was a more specific one in the Q&A just about Fin 500.
Okay, let me try to find that. That might be just an offline question if it's pretty specific.
Yeah, that's
You
what I
you
was.
can add my email so we can address that. Any questions for Melissa in the student experience? I'm just looking through here. An immersion typically is going to be, a week long. The one I just went on, we had activities Monday through Friday. Everybody arrived, the weekend before and left the weekend after. Actually, a lot of people extended it and did some traveling after. Domestic ones can be a little bit shorter. They typically do, Jason, he's asking if there's a cap on the number of students who can attend. Usually it's anywhere from 30 to 50, and it varies trip to trip. All right, I think you have most questions answered. I did see a question about official transcripts. Yes, the answer is for your application, we require unofficial transcripts, which can be a scan or a picture of your transcripts. And then once you're an admitted student, the grad college will require official transcripts that first semester. So you will have to submit those in order to, continue taking classes, or you'll have a hold on your account, which is not super fun, but usually we can work through that and help you find those transcripts. Let's see. Okay, anything else, Grant? Looks like Grant, you did a great job in the chat. Thank you so much for tackling all those questions. one question, I guess, Melissa, maybe you can answer this. Are these iMSM and IMBA degrees still beneficial if you're not great at networking and not very extroverted? I find that's a great question.
It's such a good question. I have to recharge my batteries, Amy. So I think, contrary to popular belief, you do not have to be super outgoing to still get something out of it. I will say, unlike a physical classroom where you're sort of forced to be around the same people physically all the time and you can sort of absorb the interactions that way, it does take a little more energy to put yourself out there. So people have to know that you're there, but you will quickly find the extroverts. And once you connect with them, they will, if you're an introvert, I'm sure you've had this experience. You find the extroverts and they will help you find the energy to interact. And I find that to be true in the virtual environment. But you do have to take that step to let people know you're out there. So that might mean making an intro post and talking about where you're at and why you're in the program so that people know to reach out to you, or making sure that you're showing up for those group meetings and showing your face so that people are able to connect with you. Hope that helps a little bit, but I do not consider myself to be a super extrovert, and there have been plenty of opportunities still.
Yeah. I think the point is too, like you'll get out of it what you put into it, obviously, like anything else. Like if that's something that you're really seeking out, then you do have to put a little time into it. But also on the flip side, it's going to be valuable to you if you don't do that. It's not like you are still going to be able to absorb all this information. There is still group work and smaller group work that you'll be able to participate in and really enjoy. So don't feel like that's something that you have to do. It's a common thing that most, a lot of people really, that's part of the reason that they choose our program and they want to get out of it. But regardless, you're going to have, a great experience, I guess. And it really just depends on how much, you want to put into that. So great question. With that, I know we have another webinar coming up here in just a few minutes, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody here for really just taking that next step to learn about our programs and ask these questions and meet with myself and Melissa. So we're excited that you're here. Reach out to us with questions. We're happy to help. Melissa, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Really good to see you. Grant, thanks for really crushing all those questions in the Q&A and the chat. And again, reach out to us, giesonline@illinois.edu. Grant just put that in the chat and we're happy to talk with you. So with that, everybody have a great evening and we hope to see you soon.